In the previous video, we have seen the statement of Gauss law. We have seen the Gauss law can be used to find out the unknown charge enclosed inside some closed surface. Now we will apply Gauss law to some examples like point charge, line charge, surface charge, and so on. Now before we proceed, let us see the statement of Gauss law. As we have seen in the previous lecture, Gauss law helps us to find out the unknown charge inside the closed surface. This we find out by taking the integral d dot ds over the complete surface. So ds, it is a small differential surface area. So d dot ds, it gives me the component of electric flux density ds in the direction of the surface, because the amount of electric flux density passing through this surface, it is nothing but the component of this electric flux density in the direction of ds, and that we find out by taking dot product d dot ds, and this we integrate over the entire closed surface, and that gives me the total flux passing through this surface. And as we have seen, the total flux passing through this surface is nothing but the charge enclosed. So this is the statement of Gauss law. The total charge enclosed in terms of volume charge density is volume integral rho v into dv. Now let us see how this statement of Gauss law can be applied to solve various types of problems. Now, to solve problems or to apply Gauss law for solving problems, the steps to be followed are: the surface selected, it must be a symmetrical surface, or the charge distribution, it must be symmetric. The surface must be a closed surface, that means it should be a Gaussian surface. Based on these two assumptions, we have to find out d dot ds, if this is the differential surface, so small differential surface, and this is the, suppose the electric flux density passing through this surface. So we find out d dot ds over entire surface. If I assume this cube here, there are 6 sides, so I will evaluate this d dot ds over all the 6 sides. Now there are two possibilities. This d dot ds, it may be either normal or it may be tangential. If d is normal to the surface, then in that case d and ds are in the same direction, because the direction of this surface is normal to the given surface. So in that case, d dot ds, it will be constant. The other possibility is this d, it may be tangential to this surface, for example. So if it is tangential, this means the angle between d and ds, it is 90 degree. Angle between d dot ds is 90 degree. So in this case, this dot product will be 0. So if d is tangential, dot product is 0. So these are the two possibilities. So on that portion of the closed surface for which ds dot ds is not 0, ds is equal to constant. So these steps will be following for solving problems. Now let us assume an example of a point charge. Now there is some unknown point charge. We will apply Gauss law to find out this unknown point charge. So the very first step is to select some surface which encloses this point charge. Now we have to select a surface such that it should be a closed surface, that means Gaussian, as well as symmetric surface. Best choice for point charge is the spherical surface. So we construct a Gaussian surface enclosing the charge. So the Gaussian surface should mimic the symmetry of the distribution. So we choose a spherical surface. Now we assume that this point charge, it is lying in some spherical surface, which is a symmetric surface. We will find out d dot ds over this entire spherical surface, and as we know, as per Gauss law, the total flux passing through the surface, it is equal to the charge enclosed, and that is d dot ds evaluated over the entire surface. So this is the basic statement of Gauss law, what we have seen earlier, that we will apply. Using this, we will be able to find out point charge enclosed inside the surface, which was unknown. So we assume a spherical surface, point charge, a sphere of radius r. So let us construct some geometry. Now this is the unknown charge q, and we are assuming this charge is enclosed within the sphere of radius r. Let us assume there is some point P here lying on the sphere, and at this point P, this is the electric flux density D. So we'll apply Gauss law now. Now the electric flux density is the total flux psi divided by the total surface area of this sphere. If I consider this point P anywhere on the sphere, then D is always normal to the surface area of the sphere. And that means it is always oriented in r direction, that is AR. So D, I can write it as dr AR. dr is the magnitude of this D, and AR indicates its direction, unit vector indicating its direction. So if I assume small differential surface here, ds, small differential surface ds here. So this differential surface, it is a vector quantity as we have seen earlier. This ds, it is vector quantity, and it is the direction of this ds, it is always normal. So ds is the magnitude and an indicates its direction. So this is an here. So in other words, this AR and AN both are in the same direction. AR and AN corresponding to the differential surface, both are in the same direction. So if I take dot product between D and DS, if I take dot product between D and DS, this is magnitude of D multiplied by, that is dr, multiplied by magnitude of ds, that is ds, and an dot ar, dot product of these two vectors. Now since an and ar are in the same direction, so that's why this is equal to 1. So this gives me the dot product d dot ds, it is ds into dr, scalar quantity, only magnitude. Now as per the statement of Gauss law, we integrate this over the entire surface, which gives us the total flux passing through the surface, which is same as the charge enclosed. So the total charge enclosed, which is the unknown quantity, as we have seen, this is what we want to find out. So the total charge enclosed is now surface integral d dot ds. Now as we have seen earlier, d dot ds, this is nothing but dr ds, magnitude of d into magnitude of differential surface. So dr I take outside of the integral, so this is integral, surface integral ds. So So the surface integral of the sphere, it is nothing but 4 pi r square. So this integral is 4 pi r square. Now my aim is to find out the electric flux density because of the charge. So rearranging this equation, this gives me dr equal to q upon 4 pi r square ar. So this is the electric flux density at any point on this sphere because of the unknown charge q. This is what we have derived here. Now, similar to the point charge, let us assume infinite line charge. So there is an infinite line charge which is lying along the z-axis. Now for simplicity, we will assume the charge of length L, and this line charge, it is having a charge density of rho L coulomb per meter. Now since it is a line charge of length L, the best Gaussian surface which we can select in this case is the cylinder. If I assume a line charge L which is along the z direction, so we can assume some cylinder which encloses this line charge L, a cylinder of length L, and this point P at which I am going to find out the electric flux density, it is some point P somewhere on the cylinder, and this cylinder, it is having a radius of rho. So let us determine electric flux density D at point P by applying Gauss law. So we have selected a cylindrical surface containing point P which satisfies our symmetry condition. Now D is constant and normal to the cylindrical surface. Now there are three surfaces on this cylinder: top surface, bottom surface, and side surface. On the side surface, D will be normal, and on the top and bottom, D will be tangential. The tangential component will be 0. So we will have to evaluate this D only over the sides. So this D, it is oriented in the rho direction. That means a rho, and the magnitude is d rho. So applying Gauss law over the length L of the line. Now since this line charge has a line charge density of rho L in coulomb per meter, so if I multiply this by length of the cylinder, so that gives me the total charge enclosed inside the cylinder, and let us suppose it is equal to Q. So as per Gauss law, it is the surface integral d dot ds over the entire surface. Now let us evaluate this. Now Q d dot ds, now this as similar to the previous case, d dot ds, this is equal to magnitude of d into magnitude of ds, because d and ds, they are in the same direction. So a rho dot an, it is equal to 1, as we have seen earlier. So magnitude of d, that is d rho, so this is simply d rho multiplied by ds. So this I substitute here, d rho taking outside, and let us carry out the integral over this surface of the cylinder. Now this cylinder, it consists of three surfaces: the top surface, bottom surface, and the side surface. Now as we have seen, the electric flux density on the top and bottom surface, electric flux density at the top and bottom surface, it is equal to 0. So these two components, they will be 0. Now this is the integral over the sides of this cylinder. Let us evaluate this. These two parts will be 0. So evaluating this over the sides of this cylinder of length L. So it will, since it is a surface, it will be a double integral z equal to 0 to L and angle phi 0 to 2 pi over the complete perimeter of this surface. And this is the differential surface in cylindrical coordinates, that is rho d phi into dz. So evaluating this comes out to be the 2 pi rho L multiplied by this d rho. So rearranging this gives me d rho equal to q upon 2 pi rho L. We know this q equal to is rho L into L. So if I substitute here rho L into L, so this is 2 pi rho L. So this L and this L will cancel. So this is rho L upon 2 pi rho. Magnitude of D is d rho and the direction is in the rho direction. So this is the magnitude. So let us substitute this here. This gives me d equal to rho L upon 2 pi rho a rho. This is the electric flux density at point P because of the line charge L. And rho L, it is the charge density, and rho here, it is the distance of point P from the z-axis. Now one point to be noted here, in the beginning to evaluate this, we have assumed this is a cylinder of length L, and that gives us this expression for electric flux density as rho L upon 2 pi rho. So if you observe this, it is independent of length L of the cylinder. So even if I assume an infinite line charge, then the final expression for D, it will be same. That is D equal to rho L upon 2 pi rho a rho. So this is for Gauss law applied to infinite line charge. Now let us assume infinite sheet of charge. So this is the infinite sheet of charge with charge density rho s coulomb per meter square. Now here we have to assume some Gaussian surface. Now the Gaussian surface which we use here, it is now we assume some box here, and this box, it cuts some part of this infinite sheet, and that part is this area A. So this is the Gaussian surface. Now assuming this Gaussian surface, now we'll find out the charge enclosed inside this Gaussian surface because of this area A. So assuming a rectangular box which symmetrically cuts the sheet of charge, and there are two faces parallel to the sheet. So this face and this face, which are parallel to the sheet, other surfaces are perpendicular to the sheet. So let us apply Gauss law for this. Now if I assume point P is lying on the top of the surface here, and accordingly I have selected this surface. So at this point P, the electric flux density, it will be oriented in the z direction, that is dz az. At the bottom part, it will be in the opposite direction. The magnitude will be same as that of this, and direction will be opposite, that is minus az direction here. This direction is minus az direction. and on all other sides the electric flux density will be 0 because it gets cancelled because of the symmetry conditions. Now applying Gauss law, the total charge enclosed, it is equal to d dot ds. So the total charge enclosed in terms of volume charge density, it is rho s into the area ds. Evaluating this d dot ds over the entire surface of this rectangular box. Now this d, the electric flux density, it will exist only on the top and bottom part. It is normal, and on the other four sides it will be 0. So integral d dot ds evaluated on sides of the box is 0, as d has no components in ax and ay. So, or in other words, the component of electric flux density in x and y directions, they will cancel out because of the symmetric nature of this charge. So only az component exists. So because of that, we are just carrying out this integration only on the top surfaces, only on the top surface and the bottom surface. This is bottom. On the top and bottom surface. Integral ds on the top surface, this is nothing but area A. So this is same as this area. So in the same manner, integral over this bottom surface, it is same as this area A. So substituting this, which is A, this is also A. This gives me rho s A equal to 2A dz. Now this A will cancel, and this gives me dz equal to rho s upon 2. So the z component of electric flux density, that is rho s upon 2. Rho s, it is the surface charge density. One point to note here, it is independent of the area. Okay, so dz is the magnitude of the surface charge density. So this d is nothing but dz az. So magnitude of this dz is rho s by 2. So this is d equal to dz by az. We know d is equal to epsilon 0 e. So using this relationship, E is nothing but rho s upon 2 epsilon 0 az. So this is the Gauss law applied to infinite sheet of charge. We have applied Gauss law to find out electric flux density to point charge, line charge and surface charge.